Hello, everyone, and welcome back to What If Deku Had was a zombie practically. I am sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but this is gonna go real fast. I will promise what I have to say here. Practically, what happened was, yes, I know, technically, Villain Deku actually came out on schedule because I was trying to release a video yesterday. It was going to explain schedules of how videos are going to be released and other stuff. It's still going to come out, yes, and it's going to explain more. It's just right now it's not ready yet because of following circumstances. If you're seeing Villain Deku right now, then you will understand someone if you're from people from other what ifs, which I will say the same thing from the other ones if the video is still not finished. If it's not, but practically what happened was some files that weren't mine, which don't worry, my computer did not get a virus or anything. It's for other personal reasons, but it's because there was a bunch of files that weren't mine, and I was trying to update my computer, which I was still making during the process of making the other video, where it was going to explain some stuff. But at least, hey, at least you get this video a little bit early because of this. But because of that, I'm just gonna say right now, please go when that video does come out. Please go look at it. Go check it out. It's going to explain of all the what ifs. It's going to tell you what's gonna happen. But hey, at least now I can make videos again, so it wasn't too bad for you guys. Hopefully. But also, I was trying to make an stop motion intro, and which it was gonna play for like all the videos that I was gonna do from now on, at least. Just letting you also know that. So let's actually get into the recap of this video, and I will, shut up. But that's all I gotta say, and let's get into it. And I promise the recap will be quick. So yeah, let's start. Quick recap time. So, practically, what happened during the last episode is simple. Inko is immune, well, not immune to the virus, but, immune where zombies don't attack her. Izuku is, trying to gain sanity. He kind of went insane in some regards. Practically, there was a fight between an airport. Also, Inko saved some doctors, which helped Yue a lot. And also, practically, All Might had to fight a copy of Deku while the original was doing something else. Because remember, this zombie Deku ain't stupid. He's pretty smart in this. And one more thing. Technically, he made copies of a few zombies when they attacked this airport, which Yue took over after the whole, when the zombies attacked and everything. Because of reasons. But yes, and also people from Class 1A were there during the attack. I did not specify who in the last episode, which let's get into this what if. So after when Zombie Deku the copy turned into goop, All Might was like, wait, this was a distraction? What was his main attack? Where was he aiming for? So this is when we cut to the main Zombie Deku. We see him on a fucking airplane. One that looks like it's been put together by the zombies themselves. From zombies that still remembered how to use equipment. And Izuku used them to build an airplane. A few of them. Two where they're kind of kamikaze ones. While the main one is where he's arriving with his mutant zombies. The ones that are high up in intelligence. Not high enough to overrank Deku, though. But high enough where they're pretty tough when they see you. Like if they fought you before, they're gonna know how to beat you in a way. Like they'll change their strategies to try to win. but they ain't that smart. They're still dead. So yeah, which some of them are Nomus, and then others are like old pro heroes or old villains that have been turned into zombies. So we cut to Deku flying his plane. And the reason why they used this as a distraction, the government had to move with UA and some of the other hero schools with their soldiers. So that also counted for like anti-air guns and also fighter jets as well. But not only that, it also counted for that. So when UA was attacked, it was a more wide array of attacks, attacking the airports next to hero schools, which Izuku, kind of did by default, guessed that, you know, the hero schools would have them taken over. So during those attacks, they were distracted, so Izuku can carry out his plan. And this is when we cut to the cockpit, seeing a familiar island. Yes, and it's not the island from the other movie. It's a familiar island to all of us, dear viewers. But not to Izuku, because he died way before he got to this island, when he was alive. But he always dreamt of coming here to see it one day. Well, he got to see it. Island. Yes, you might be wondering. Ways, how did he get to Island? Well, you gotta remember, folks, Island can move. It's not just, in one location. It constantly moves around the world, which, because of that, Izuku took advantage. He planned out by using zombie, zombie type heroes or villains that could fly, and he used them to get his information. How, through their eyes, practically. I know I kind of messed up what I was saying, but whatever. But yes, through their eyes, and he saw that island was starting to head kind of closer to Japan, which, would you know it, that gave Izuku perfection opportunity to plan what he has to do. So, because of this, something happens. Island is unaware of this. So, the people who are in, control of the dock area for airplanes around the world, who, land on Island because they got good technology, that's all I gotta say. Woo, America, that's all I gotta say. But, yes, they contact 3 planes from Japan, which the world and the US have realized this. So, Island tries to contact them, and you might be saying, why are they not shooting them down right now? What's the deal, K.infinite? Well, remember, the Americans know that there is survivors, and they're trying to build a plane. So, they think there's a chance that these are survivors. They don't know the zombies are smart, some of them at least. So, it's kind of a shock, you know? So, this is when we cut back to, All Might and them. So, when they found out the shocking news of Izuku and everything, Nezu was even taken aback by this, because he realized that Izuku doesn't care about the other zombies. He does care about some of them, which is the ones with the most intelligence, but he doesn't care about zombies that are just, more stupid and don't have any higher thought. So, yeah, the only other one they realize that does have a higher thought, like Izuku, is Nana Shimura. Well, her zombie counterpart at least. But here's the thing. they realized that the ones who are mutant and the ones that are high up on like the tier list of Deku, which they kind of created because of his quirk, well, they count as quirk. It kind they kind of act more dog dog-like around Izuku. Yes, so that would also count for the heroes, the zombie heroes. They act more dog-like, or if their quirks are mutant quirks, then they act whatever creature they were, but like more loyal to Izuku in a sense, if you get what I mean. But this is when things happen because of this. So they had to rush their plane much more faster this time because Principal Nezu figured out what their target was. Because Nezu looked at he figured it out. He figured out Island at this moment of this point of time was getting closer to Japan. Not to dock or anything, but going past it. So Izuku is taking this opportunity, which shocks all of them. So this is when we come back to Izuku again. Island is still trying to contact the planes, but they don't receive no signal. After a while, they choose to shoot down the planes. So one plane gets hit and crashes into the water, but the second plane crashes into the dock of Island, right where the control tower was, telling the planes where to go. Until Izuku plane. Oh my gosh, it sounded so stupid. Until Izuku's plane arrived. Which, would you not know it? Guess who was in it? Well, I'm gonna tell you this. It was the same Nomu during the USJ. Oh, yeah. The one that killed him with its devastating punch. The same one. So he sends out this zombie version of the Nomu that killed him and ended his life short, well, until he got technically resurrected. But this Nomu is tearing apart this whole airport part of Island, and the robots are actually struggling against this thing because yes, it's using its quirks, but because of the quirks, it's also boosting its strength too, since it was naturally already strong. But it's like tearing apart people, it's breaking them in half, it's literally biting. Which, again, real quick before we continue, spoil a warning: if you have um, a weak stomach or a weak mind, or if you get nightmares easily, be cautious here because this is going to be vivid details of me explaining what's happening at this airport on Island. So, a lot of talking about bloods, talking about internal stuff being pulled out, and also talking about some pretty messed up stuff. So again, if you get nauseous from something like that, be worried, beware. Just I'm letting you know now, dear viewers. Just proceed with caution. So where was I? Oh yeah. So the Nobu is tearing through, ripping people apart. You can see their guts and blood's flowing out. And some people are literally bleeding out before they turn into zombies and attack as well. Even, which is the messed up part, some families have like one person dying and they're trying to check if they're still alive, and then they come back as a zombie and come up and bite their loved one, either tearing them apart or ripping out organs, or just biting them in the face or neck to insta kill them and to expand Deku's horde of zombies. But let's return back to the second plane that crashed on purpose. So the second plane, when it crashed, it spread. It spread worse than anything. Because yes, a lot of zombies died, but there was a lot of tougher zombies inside. Some pretty tough. So when the security bots saw this, they try to deal with the zombies, which because America and whatever, they try to deal with the zombies as much as possible, but they're getting pushed. The robots are getting pushed back and trying to protect the civilians, so they're kind of struggling because they need more security bots. So Zuko in his plane deploys more like zombified heroes and villains to go assist the normal and the regular zombies that are civilians. And the heroes inside Island are starting to head over here to find out what's happening. But when they do, the situation shocks them. Some of them even, what I said before, even throw up on the spot. Like, it's so disgusting. Especially the part where the Nomu is. Because when they got there, they just saw blood and guts everywhere. Like on the ceiling, on the floor, on the walls. Like it looked like there was a full-on bloodbath. Almost everywhere where the robots weren't. Almost. But this is when the heroes try to defend. And they try to even defeat the Nomu, but since it was in the anime, it was made to kill All Might, which it, actually went up against the symbol of peace and not die from its, All Might's ultimate punches. Which, Jesus Christ, how did that thing survive? But what else happens is from this. Yeah, the heroes on Island with the machines were able to hold the zombies at the airport. All Might and Yue figuring out what happened, which, what I said before, they try to figure out a way to get heroes over there, or, people in general over there to help Island. And at least, get the people who help at least out of here too in the process. In a sense of regards. So, this is what happens. All Might is on a plane they had to build in a rush, since the fact being, they don't have precious, unique time at this moment on their side. So, let's cut back to Island. So, during this whole attack of Island, that was, orchestrated by Izuku, practically just planned by Izuku, not intentionally either, it was just, zombie want more brains, have better thought of, taking over this, so why not? And All Might is joined by people from ex-police and people who are from, well, how can I say this without sounding weird? People that were also helped around the police and military, with some hero students as well, and pro heroes with that. Like, for example, Huma. Oh my gosh, how the fuck do I say her name properly? Let me give me 1 second, folks. I was trying to remember her name. Hirashaki, Barbara Hirashaki, if I said that properly. Sorry, man, if I butchered what you said me of her name, but that's all I gotta say, folks. But so yeah, and like Momo and Kendo, in a sense of regard. Well, like Momo ain't there; she's still at the airport, making more devices and trying to help. But I'm gonna say whoever else is over there was Tetsu, since Kirishima has to stay at the airport for obvious reasons. And I'm gonna say Bakugo, since he wants to take down the zombified version of the nerd.
But in this case, since we still have somebody, I'm gonna also have to send. I'm gonna say. Uh, you know what? I'm too tired to fucking remember his name. But the teacher from Class 1B, which his quirk allows him to use blood. If you watch the anime, you know who I'm talking about. I'm just letting you guys know. I'm just too tired right now to think about people's names. This moment, I still know it. I just too freaking tired to remember it. So yeah, the people who were there with All Might on this plane also equipped kind of like a machine gun type situation. So when they land, they can automatically start shooting zombies, so they can get out without getting overwhelmed. So it takes them a while to get there. And back on Island, yes, Azuku is just chilling because he is enjoying the carnage until Cadaver once again tells Azuku something important. Which, what happens here is a unique individual is kind of in Cadaver, right behind him too. Azuku, the zombie version of Azuku at least noticed this person, but he doesn't know who he is. All he feels like he knows this guy somewhere, but he can't remember since his brain was decayed so long ago. But the person he could see was wearing a white, black armor with a letter on one shoulder and the Infinity logo on the other. But then the person disappeared. Cadaver starts talking. He says this: Azuku, so do you enjoy what's been happening? Because I have, and it's been intriguing to me, at least. But I'm here to help you. You need to get into the city more, so you know what to use. Just do it. And Zuko's like, but I can't, Cadaver. That's too much, even for me. And Cadaver's like, what do you mean, Zuko? You're one of us, the undead. It doesn't matter anymore. The living is cruel. They are cruel. We're doing something unique. And besides, it's not your fault. It's this hunger, this sense of wanting to eat, to feed yourself. It's not your fault. But you know who to send, and you know who. I will give you a few days to make this decision. If you don't, I will do it for you. And before Cadaver leaves, Deku's like, fine, I'll do it. So I don't go insane and become a heartless monster. I know for a fact I'm going to regret what I'm about to do, but Cadaver, I gotta ask, do you regret what we had to do here? What has been happening? And Cadaver looks at Izuku with a cold, blank stare. He says, I always regret everything I do in life. And puts his hand on Izuku's shoulder and says, but I cannot regret who I am. An undead wavering corpse that just wants to feed on the living. But it's not my fault. These circumstances brought us together. And then Cadaver disappears back into Izuku. And Izuku wakes up. Well, if you call this the equivalent of a zombie waking up. But, yeah. Izuku wakes up. This is when he gets up and he wakes up zombified Nanashimura, which was kind of sleeping on the chair right next to him because she's like a bodyguard at this point, like always wanting to defend Izuku for other reasons. And since they both share one for all in a way, that now at this point, um, she is more and more like herself, but more twisted in a way where she sees Izuku justified of his actions. It's not his fault. He's doing it. She blames Cadaver, even though Cadaver's not doing it. It's just the natural thing of his type want to do is feed, is to consume, is connect, to eat the flesh of the living. You know, she gets the hunger. She feels it too. So Izuku's like, it's time. Not out loud, but in their mental scape, it's time. And she nods in agreement, and the other zombies, like the ones that were always around him, get up and start moving as well. And this is when things are going to blow your guys' mind. Because the thing that Cadaver was talking about was a boost to all zombies around Izuku. Which means, let's say you have a hardening quirk and you can only harden it to a point. If you're a zombie and Izuku activates this, your boost becomes, because of the quirk, becomes 10 times more stronger and more harder for you to go down. So all zombies in the 50-mile radius around Izuku get a boost, which could, make them pretty powerful. And all zombies who couldn't use their quirks can now use them, which that's why it makes it harder, and that's why Izuku didn't want to do it that way. He wanted to give the humans a chance to fight for their lives. He didn't want to, wipe them out with that boost, because he knows that boost will make sure the zombies win. But not only that, he also, because of these zombies, he didn't want them to have to switch killing children. He really didn't want to. So that's why. So, when Izuku's about to activate it, he makes zombified Mount Lady, pick him up. And, she turns into her giant form, too. And Nana Shimura's with, and then he activates the boost. All the zombies in the 50-mile radius get hit with that boost and start getting louder and enraged and anger. And people on the island are hearing it, and they're just hearing zombies getting louder even though they're far away. And even Melissa's shield and David's shield heard this, which they were like 50% done of evacuating people from the island. And David's shield and Melissa's shield right now, we're just trying to, and with, all the people who are in the science part of Island, we're trying to get their gear and blueprints and everything, so they didn't leave nothing of importance behind. So, while the heroes were dealing with the ones at the airport, they also heard it, and it was 10 times louder for them. And some of them even went, partially death because of that's how loud it was. So, they just see a bunch of zombies breaking the doors and just busting in more aggressively, and the bots at this point are actually starting to struggle because that's how powerful Deku is. But they sadly for the people who are defending Island, little that they know, Deku has sent more planes with more zombies to arrive. So the heroes finally arrive on the opposite side of the airport, and they were actually shooting at them until they got a response from the plane. They were like, "Who is this?" And in response, because it could be a trick from the zombies, and they explained that, "Oh, it's me. It's like All Might. I have arrived to try to help." And they were hesitant because they don't know if the symbol of peace was a zombie or not. until which I'm gonna say this, they modified the plane so they can show physical recording, and until they saw an image of All Might and the people on the plane, seeing that they're all normal, they're not zombies. So yeah, and also either way, Island hacked into their camera system to make sure. So yeah, so they know they're not zombies. Which that is the case until Melissa Shield and David Shield were loading something onto a new plane and about to go back in to grab more stuff. She sees All Might and was like, "Uncle All Might," and All Might's like, "Melissa Shield, you all right?" And David Shield comes over here and was like, "All Might, what has happened?" And All Might explains what has happened for a few months and 1 year at this point of time. So David Shield and Militia Shield get it that quote unquote what happened. And also his assistant was there too. Which Huma Bami, if I said her name wrong, slander me in the comments. Just say, "Hey, you goofus, you said her name wrong," and I'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, my bad." Which I'm saying it right now. But yeah, let's continue. She's like, "All Might, we have a job to do. We gotta go." And All Might's like, "Fine." So, and he asks, "What's happened?" David Shield, like David Shield, and David responds with practically what happened just now when they arrived. That the zombies were getting more relentless and they were glowing more red, which they look like they got boosted somehow. Which, little does some people know that some of the zombies actually have been boosted more. And you might be wondering, wait, what do you mean they have been boosted more, K.infinite.Studio? What I mean by that is they've been boosted by trigger, which you might be saying, how does that work? Well, and this is quick. I promise you, this explanation will be quick, and then we'll continue with the story. People who take drugs that is trigger in the My Hero Academia universe, they get infected by zombies, and that could just constantly infuse them with trigger to try to make a new type of zombie. So they're much faster, and their quirks are way more powerful. But they're not to the levels of Izuku's ones that intelligence-wise, they will attack anything, these versions at least. So let's get into the story. I'm sorry I had to get off track there for a second. So, yeah, he explains about the trigger ones and how all the regular zombies got a boost, which this is gonna make it tough for the heroes and whoever else came with them because of reasons. But yes, this is when they're trying to push back. They run to the airport, the other side that was attacked by Izuku, and they see him. They see him in a certain area of the airport, just overlooking everything with his better zombies, which his radius is still hitting every zombie in that area, which is boosting them and making them kill more, to the point where they're slowly starting to get into the city, which that's where All Might and the rest of the people that he was with is at right now. So they're trying to head over there to try to slow down the zombie horde and to allow the people to escape. Which, after a while, they keep fighting. That's all I gotta say. They keep fighting until David Shields tells the defenders, well, the reigning human defenders, to pull back because all civilians were evacuated, and now it's just any pro heroes that were there, or any police with, you know, any of the extra people that UA sent to help. So they're pulling back, which David Shield activated the rest of the robots to try to slow down the zombie hordes, which, because of Deku's boost, it is kind of fruitless because Deku is making them rampage, and a lot of parts of Island were destroyed. But Deku doesn't want that, so most important areas, most vital areas were ignored by Izuku. Just areas where there was more people he wanted them to infect. And at this point, you know who was leading the charge? because Izuku was watching, but the person who was leading the charge at this point was Nana Shimura. Well, the zombie version at least. And she was breaking through, slicing people in half, ripping their guts out, and much more. And like kind of smushing heads, and blood was everywhere. Eyeballs fell out and everything. Of, heroes who were trying to defend our police. So, luckily, All Might had to pull back. They pulled back to the last airport because that's the place they had to defend, and they had to destroy a lot of planes because of the implications of if Izuku gets any of these new planes, they're doomed and they cannot stop him. So, when they pull back, they see 4 more planes starting to arrive that were from Japan, but All Might knows that they didn't call for reinforcements. Whose planes are these? And the planes crash into parts of Island, and more zombies come out from the flames. Which you might be asking, how are the zombies not dead? These are zombies who quirk users when they were alive, shot fire, and they were immune to the fire, so that's why Izuku found a lot of those, which he loves using, well, in this timeline at least. So, that's why. And they just see these zombies who are on fire rushing towards them in a rage. And some of them hit closer to the airport, where that's where they were heading towards, which that's where most of the bots are defending. So, with All Might and their group, they just see these zombies running towards them on fire. Just running towards like something from fiction. It is terrifying for the group. So they start opening fire on them, on some of these zombies, until they see the police from their group getting devoured and getting taken over. Like just getting run over and just jumped on by a bunch of zombies. And All Might's trying to help. Yeah, he's like coming in, punching and smashing, some of their heads exploding or getting smushed together into mushy cuts and bruises. But it's fruitless. So whoever had to escape, they took this opportunity to try to sneak past to get over there. So Huabami and oh my gosh, Kendo and Bakugo are just fighting off the zombies that were trying to do anything, and also Tetsu. But yes, and they're fighting, and they're actually getting away with All Might until, and this is gonna make you guys feel sad. Tetsu got tired of his metal and slowly was starting to deharden, or his bits and pieces of his hardening were starting to break, because that was the amount of constant that the zombies were doing. They were constantly biting him over and over again, and some of them had kind of quirks that made their teeth very sharp to bite through, almost to bite through metal. But the reason why I say almost, when they were alive, their quirks allowed them to bite through metal. But since they're a zombie, their teeth has been rotten away mostly. So when they try to bite Tetsu, it dunts it, but it just also breaks their teeth in the process. Just letting you know. But until Tetsu, his army finally breaks, and one zombie, which All Might notices who it is, it's not a Shimura, finally bites him and bites off his whole arm. The lower half of his arm where it connects to the elbow, ripping it off from Tetsu. Tetsu grabs his arm, the lump of his arm, in pain. He's like, and All Might comes in and starts fighting Shimura, the zombie one, and they're fighting at this point, and the rest of the group have to carry Tetsu, and Bakugo has to do something that will forever haunt his dreams. He's going to have to carry up his wound, because if not, he's going to get infected by the air, because there's a lot of dead corpses filled with the virus, and so they have to So how they seal up the wound, they use Bakugo and a bit of fire from the explosions from the airplanes to burn Tetsu's wound closed. And Tetsu, at that moment, with those three people, just screams out in pain. He sounds like he's dying. He sounds like he doesn't want to be alive at that moment. He just screams out in pain until he passes out because of the sheer amount of pain that he had to feel at that moment. He just passes out. So they have to, and which, because of Bakugo, he's being a good bro in this one for Kirishima. He picks up Tetsu, and they go. They rush back to the airport. So back to All Might's and Zombie Nana Shimura's fight. They're fighting at this point, and All Might is kind of disgusted that the fact this thing, who looks like his mentor, is trying to kind of disgrace her name in a way by ripping off one of his students' arms by where the joint of the elbow and arm connect. So he just rushes towards her. Like, they keep fighting for a while until he finally pins her to the ground. Kind of like disabling her in a way by just punching her arms so hard that they just stopped working because their bones just disconnected from the nerves and from everything that's telling them what to do, which is what's still functioning at this point. But she's scrambling around from her head and from her last remaining parts that she can at least move from her body. And this is when he hears her finally speak to him. And what she says could very well be him requesting a certain thing to stop them. In a way, if you want to count it that way. But this is what she says in her zombified voice. Toshinori. And All Might, hearing that name, stops for a minute. He was about to, right at that moment, punch her head and destroy the brain. But when he heard the words Toshinori and his mentor's voice, he just stopped at that moment, in shock and in confusion as well, because he kind of expected them to be well dead, if you want to count it that way, at least. So, practically because of that, she says this. Don't do it. Don't. We are still here. And it sounds like All Might understands what she means in a way. He knows that that's the real Midoriya, but twisted in a weird way. Well, so far that he thinks. But hearing his mentor say, "Don't do it," don't, sounds like that she's there. She is still there. It's just she can't help herself in a way. So All Might is asks his mentor while she's kind of in this normal but insane normal state, mixture of worry for All Might in a way. And he asks, "Why are you helping him? Why are you doing this?" And she tries to answer the best she can with her voice kind of fighting herself in a way. And she's like, "Oh, Toshinori, please don't. You just need to stop us. Don't kill. It's not a hero's way." And you might be wondering, why would she say that? She tried to kill all of them. Well, remember, she really kind of tried, but it was to stop someone who is worse than evil is evil. Deku here, well, he's not really evil. he's more like kind of trying to survive at this point because he needs to feed, or like his zombies need to feed to keep him in like sane, so he doesn't go insane and make things worse. Which Nana Shimura gets it, but she wants them to stop him in a way where he doesn't die, but he can't infect anymore, and he can't have others infect. All Might, by the way, at this point, I'm going back to story. Sorry for going into a rant. All Might at this point is in shock, and at this point, Nana Shimura uses her own arms because she like put them right back into place that moment, and she knocks herself out so she doesn't bite Toshinori or All Might. And All Might's like, Master, Mentor, or whatever, Master, why? And she, like, before she knocked herself, she said, go Toshinori, go save your friends. And then she knocks her, like, at that moment, then she knocked herself out. Which All Might rushes towards the students or whoever was left from their team, and he finds what happens. He sees that the zombies are like kind of taking like the secondary airport in a way, like they're kind of like not overwhelming it, but surrounding it, and the bots are just trying to do their best they can to hold off the zombies. And this is when he comes in and does a Detroit smash, destroying a lot of buildings, but killing a lot of zombies in the process. And he grabs the students that are there and they go through the doors while big, like, metal door comes down and shuts down. And it's a strong metal door, so it's going to take a while for Deku to get that airport taken over. So, what happens next is they have to leave. And they get on the same plane that they used to get over here. When they fly to the other side where, like, where Deku first assaulted, and they see his plane. A plane that wasn't destroyed, but it doesn't look like it's normal. It looks like it's been put together by something else. And since this plane has a gun on it, they use it to destroy Deku's plane, the one he used to get over here. Once when it got destroyed, which they also destroyed the other planes on the second, dock if there was, any more, just in case. Which Deku is annoyed about that. Which he uses all that he can. He uses like zombies that have quirks to shoot, and they're shooting at the plane. It's like anti-airgun central, if you want to count it like that. You know what I'm saying, folks? But yeah. So our heroes escaped. Mr. Shield and David Shield went back to the USA to tell what happened. But they don't know. They don't know this. But one of the pilots infected. And Deku knows what's about to happen. He doesn't want the US to be informed, or at least have David Shield on their side. Because they might find a cure and try to cure Cadaver's power from the rest of the people. Which Deku doesn't want that. So, when the pilots get infected faster, turns and he bites the secondary pilot, bites all the crew in the cockpit. And since, Deku was kind of controlling him, he uses him to lock the door to the cockpit, turning the plane around and crashing it in Japan. And All Might and everyone on the secondary plane that took off sees this and sees David Shield's plane going down, which everyone is freaking out on that plane, and it crashes into an airport that is like kind of decently far away from UA. So All Might is they fly lower for All Might for this moment, and All Might just jumps out and like uses a Detroit jump kick and just sends himself flying. Which you might be wondering, when is he gonna lose One for All since Deku still has it? Well, I'm gonna explain this. Deku only has half of One for All. The other half has returned back to All Might since Deku is dead. And since he technically got resurrected when that other half was gone. So the half that he has remains. Just letting you know. So right now, One for All is split in two. So Deku has noticed this. He's enjoying this. So he finds some planes that were docked at the airport he took, like the part of the airport that he took over, and he starts flying over there with the zombies that he like gave command to himself, the ones that were smart. But he leaves certain zombies behind on this island. And you might be wondering, who is it that he leaves on the island? On Island. He leaves two types of zombies. He leaves, and yes, you're gonna be surprised about this. He leaves the zombified version of Ingenium, Ida's brother, in charge of that island to take control and try to, mess with systems and shit. But anyway, that's not only it. We also have it where, don't you know it? We have, well, I should say this, and I kind of want this. This, you know what? The zombified version of Burnin. And if you don't know who that is, it's one of Endeavor's sidekicks from My Hero. She's the one with the green hair, the green fire-like hair, which I have sheltered before in my channel, I think. If not, oh well, you gotta suffer for that. But this is where I'm gonna leave it off, and let's get to the end of this joint, which I am glad if you guys made it to the end. Thank you for watching. And you might be wondering, K.infinite, you changed the ending thing? Well, remember when I said things got deleted? Well, yeah, my old ending one that I actually liked got deleted as well. So I had to find a new one, and I did comment on that dude saying, hey, thank you for making this for YouTubers, or something along those lines. But, yeah. And also, if you stuck to the end here, I'm gonna tell you a little bit more of what was happening. Yes, what I said earlier is true. Yeah, I wanted to do video to explain about what ifs, do some stop motion to make a new intro, so then we don't have to have me bleh. But, and final thing before we gotta soon stop. And also, the Dinosaur What If is coming out, but next time when this stuff's supposed to release, I have no idea, because this is either at some point you guys see this. I have no idea when the video is going to come out, so it may come out after the Dinosaur What If, or the Dinosaur What If will come out before it, like either one. So I have no idea which one's gonna come out first. I'm just letting you guys know. Don't shoot down the messenger. So that's all I have to say, and peace.